Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Corey Gann.
I'm Jess Hayes.
Mara Rogai.
Olivia Langford.
We're going to be talking to you guys today about the economy of Lee County and its relation to water. As I'm sure all of you guys are aware, water is something that always is going to pull you. So it's something you're going to want to be near. It's been tested and proven in almost every scenario that people migrate toward the water, and over 80% of the population of the entire world lives next to a body of water. So we've really focused on what water means to Lee County in terms of its economy, and how the industries are sort of centered around it. Our thesis statement, it's about the increasing environmental risk of living by the water, the decreasing environmental value of living by the water, and the constant pull, attraction, affinity to the water, and that people will always return to the water. At the top of our slide, you can kind of see information about the population, the demographics, and the current state of economics, what people pay for, in the top of our graph.
Okay, brief history of Lee County. On the economics side, in 1886, it was actually a part of Monroe County, and what happened was one of the schoolhouses burnt down, and they refused to fund it, and they're like, well, we're going to make our own county and name it Lee County. And so this was like just from there, and then jumping to around like 1957 to the 70s, the Rosen brothers started opening up Cape Canaveral, connecting more infrastructure, up towards more of like from the 70s and on, there was certain connections, different roads that they made more accessible. And then to present day, we have problems in economy with Hurricane Ian and how we're to mask that with hurricanes. Economic hubs, which are, sorry, go into that a little bit. So kind of as we mentioned, it was first made as this like master plan community with all these connections. Again, a huge draw to the area was the water. So back in time, we saw that most people here, it was a huge attraction for snowbirds, tourists, things like that. But as the region has grown, it's actually one of the fastest growing counties in the state and in the country. Its economic base has diversified a little bit. So just to point out a few of like the major area, we have beaches, of course, like Fort Myers Beach, which industry in the area. And then we also have things like the sports, the spring training facilities for different baseball teams, and downtown Fort Myers. They all also contribute greatly to the tourism industry in this area. But now we also see Florida Gulf Coast University. It really fosters innovation in the region. It employs over 3,000 people. And then Lee Health is another major employer, and it contributes about $5.2 billion annually to the region. And then Southwest Florida area as well, as it contributes over $8 billion to the region annually. And it has the potential to expand even more. More on the tourist side, we have this manatee infographic, and it's splitting from nature, ecotourism. We have boating. I think another, throwing back to history, a main thing from Lee County was like the fishing. A lot of wealthy people would come and go there to sportsman fish, and I think that's still today, a lot of people go to boat. And then entertainment, so the nightlife, a lot of spring breakers come in at a certain time, along with a lot of winter birds, maybe older people playing golf, so that's another part of it. And then we have onto COVID, making Florida look less crazy.
Yeah. So Florida kind of proved that you can work from anywhere. You know, work from home has been a huge change of regime sort of for the workforce. So we saw a big influx of people moving to Florida, and then tourism and recreation being a huge part of the economy here. Yeah, and so with that, we've seen with climate change that the ecosystem services, which are the dollar value assigned to the ecosystem that provides for the economy and for other surrounding industries, starting to go down with these increasing rate of hurricanes.
So next is the ecosystem services. So we have provisioning services, regulating and cultural services. So provisioning offers energy, seafood, biomedical, transportation, and then we have regulating, which provides food prevention, erosion control and pathogens. And then we have cultural services, which provides educational. And then to the job side, we have from big to small, so this counts for most of the population in Lee County. So retail, and then goes to healthcare, food services, and then construction workers.
And then transitioning a little bit, we wanted to look at some area might experience and look at it from like a spatial lens. So one of the first major things we can talk about is Hurricane Ian, which had a huge impact on the economy, and it's probably going to have impacts yet to find recently. But this map here shows the track of Hurricane Ian as well as Category 4 storm surge. So as you can see, it covers a huge area, and as you might imagine, a lot was destroyed in this past hurricane. So it actually caused over $7 billion in damage, and you can kind of see some of the destruction here: broken bridges, boat graveyards, things like that. And this could be just one example of maybe what's to come as hurricanes get more frequent, more intense in the future. Look at just general flood risk. Vulnerable to that. So in these maps here, we mapped out median household income. So darker red is higher income, and then closer to white, yellow is lower income. And we actually see that people tend to, again, really value being close to water. A lot of the highest income areas are closest to the water, which are also areas that are most prone to flooding, which is an interesting point. And then we wanted to characterize in this region a little bit. So one thing that we kind of saw in our research is that, that as a bedroom community, and there's this discrepancy between commercial development. And we kind of see that here is a lot of commercial development outside of Cape Coral, which means people need to travel outside the city to work. And then going to that a little bit more, we have transit, just showing how assisted housing communities are located along these bus routes. Then,
yeah, so sort of wrap it up. We have our mind map there that is relating processes of economy all the way to characteristics of community. The economy should build a base around in the coming future, and has the opportunity to leave out members of the community that maybe aren't necessarily part of a flood risk community or are part of a lower income community. They can be involved in the planning that's going to be happening in the very near future, with the boom of people moving, along with more awareness of sustainable practices.